Most people believe dreams are merely random neural firings, meaningless fragments of a tired mind, disposing of the day's mental debris. We've been taught that these nocturnal visions are nothing more than biological housekeeping, synapses clearing themselves of unnecessary information whilst we sleep. Society dismisses the dreamer as someone lost in fantasy, someone who reads too much into the chaos of unconscious imagery. But what if this widespread dismissal represents one of humanity's greatest acts of self-sabotage? What if your dreams aren't the mind's rubbish bin, but rather the most sophisticated communication system you possess? What if every symbol, every recurring character, every bizarre scenario is actually your psyche's desperate attempt to deliver messages that could transform your entire existence? The very dismissal of dreams as meaningless reveals our culture's profound disconnection from the depths of human consciousness, a severance that leaves millions wandering through life only half awake to their own potential. Carl Jung would say that dreams serve as bridges between the conscious and unconscious realms, carrying wisdom that the waking mind often refuses to acknowledge. According to Jung, dreams don't distort reality. They reveal the reality we've been conditioned to ignore. They speak in the language of symbols and archetypes, presenting truths too powerful for our defensive conscious minds to accept directly. When we dismiss our dreams, we're not just ignoring random neural activity. We're turning our backs on our own inner guidance system. The person who begins to take their dreams seriously often faces ridicule from a world that has forgotten how to listen to its own soul. Yet this ridicule itself becomes a dreamlike symbol, representing society's collective fear of authentic self-knowledge. Those who dare to explore their dream worlds discover they're not stepping into fantasy, but awakening to layers of reality that the merely rational mind cannot perceive. The dreamer doesn't escape from life. They dive deeper into its mysterious heart, where transformation awaits those brave enough to decode the messages from their unconscious depths. When you begin to pay attention to your dreams, you quickly discover that the unconscious speaks in a language far older and more sophisticated than words. Jung observed that dream symbols aren't arbitrary. They emerge from what he called the collective unconscious, a shared repository of human experience that transcends individual memory. These symbols carry emotional weight and meaning that bypasses rational analysis, speaking directly to the parts of us that know truth through feeling rather than thinking. The snake that appears in your dream isn't simply a reptile. It's an ancient symbol of transformation, wisdom, and the life force itself. Dreams present themselves as living metaphors, each element carefully chosen by your psyche to convey specific meanings about your current life situation. The house that appears repeatedly in your dreams may represent your sense of self, with different rooms symbolizing various aspects of your personality or life experience. Jung would say that descending into a basement in a dream often represents a journey into the unconscious mind, whilst climbing to an attic might symbolize aspiring toward higher consciousness or spiritual awareness. Your unconscious mind possesses an intelligence that often surpasses your waking awareness, creating intricate narratives that reflect your deepest conflicts, desires, and potential for growth. The recurring dream characters aren't random figments, but rather archetypal figures representing different aspects of your psyche. The wise old man offering guidance, the shadow figure embodying rejected aspects of yourself, or the anima or animus representing your inner feminine or masculine nature. Each dream becomes a personalized myth, crafted specifically for your psychological and spiritual development. As you learn to decode these symbolic messages, you begin to recognize that your dreams often anticipate problems or opportunities before your conscious mind becomes aware of them. The psyche seems to possess a prophetic quality, not in the sense of predicting literal future events, but in recognizing patterns and potentials that haven't yet manifested in your waking life. This symbolic intelligence guides you toward wholeness, presenting challenges and solutions in metaphorical form, waiting patiently for you to develop the wisdom to interpret its profound communications. Jung discovered that dreams serve as mirrors, reflecting not only who we believe ourselves to be, but more importantly, who we actually are beneath our carefully constructed personas. The dream world strips away social masks and reveals the raw material of personality, our fears, our suppressed desires, our untapped potentials, and the parts of ourselves we've learned to hide from others and even from ourselves. In dreams, the business person might find themselves as a wild animal. The quiet introvert may become a powerful leader, revealing aspects of identity that daylight consciousness keeps carefully concealed. The characters that populate your dreams often represent different facets of your own psyche, each one embodying qualities you either embrace or reject about yourself. According to Jung, when you dream of conflict with another person, you're frequently witnessing an internal battle between different aspects of your own nature. The angry figure in your dream might represent suppressed rage you've been taught to deny. The mysterious stranger could embody untapped creative potential waiting to be acknowledged and integrated into your conscious life. Dreams have the remarkable ability to present your psychological development as ongoing narratives, showing you where you've been, where you are now, and where you might be heading if current patterns continue. The recurring nightmare often points to unresolved trauma or persistent psychological conflicts that demand attention and healing. Meanwhile, dreams of flying or discovering new rooms in familiar buildings frequently indicate expanding consciousness and the discovery of previously unknown capabilities within yourself. Through dreams, your unconscious mind attempts to achieve what Jung called psychological compensation, balancing out the one-sidedness of conscious attitudes and behaviors. If you've been too rigid and controlling in waking life, your dreams might present scenarios of chaos and spontaneity. If you've been avoiding responsibility, your dreams may confront you with situations demanding decisive action. This compensatory function helps maintain psychological equilibrium, preventing the psyche from becoming too extremely imbalanced in any particular direction. Perhaps nowhere do dreams reveal their transformative power more clearly than in their willingness to confront you with what Jung called the shadow. Those aspects of personality you've rejected, denied, or never acknowledged. These shadow elements often appear in dreams as threatening figures, dark pursuers, or situations that evoke intense fear or disgust. Yet Jung recognized that these apparently negative dream elements often contain some of your most valuable psychological gold, representing disowned strengths and vitalities that could enrich your life if properly understood and integrated. The shadow in dreams doesn't appear to torment you, but to complete you. When you dream of being chased by a menacing figure, your unconscious mind may be presenting you with aspects of your own power that you've been taught to fear or suppress. The violent character in your dream might represent necessary assertiveness you've been unable to access. The sexual figure could embody natural desires you've learned to shame. The angry persona might hold the key to healthy boundaries you've struggled to establish in waking relationships. Dreams create safe spaces for encountering these shadow aspects, allowing you to experience and explore parts of yourself that might feel too dangerous or unacceptable to acknowledge consciously. Jung observed that individuals who refuse to acknowledge their shadow in dreams often find themselves unconsciously acting out these rejected qualities in their waking lives, frequently in ways that create problems and conflicts they don't understand. The dream world offers a controlled environment for shadow integration, providing opportunities for dialogue and understanding rather than unconscious acting out. As you develop the courage to face your shadow figures in dreams rather than fleeing from them, remarkable transformations begin to occur. The threatening dream character might suddenly become helpful or protective. The dark pursuer might transform into a guide leading you toward hidden treasure. This alchemical process reflects the psychological truth that our greatest weaknesses, when consciously acknowledged and properly integrated, often become our most distinctive strengths and sources of authentic power. Those who begin to take their dreams seriously often discover an unexpected consequence. They start to feel increasingly isolated from a culture that dismisses inner experience as irrelevant fantasy. Friends and family members may respond with eye rolls or gentle mockery when you attempt to share meaningful dream experiences, leaving you feeling misunderstood and alone in your psychological journey. This social dismissal can create profound loneliness, as you find yourself living in two worlds, the rich symbolic realm of dream consciousness, and the flat literal world that most people accept as the only reality worth discussing. The dreamer often experiences what Jung described as the price of consciousness, a growing awareness that isolates them from collective assumptions and beliefs. You may find yourself questioning societal values that once seemed unshakable, feeling like an outsider looking in at a world that suddenly appears shallow and unconscious. This alienation isn't pathological. It's a natural consequence of psychological development, marking the transition from unconscious participation in collective beliefs to conscious individual awareness. Yet this loneliness carries within it the seeds of profound self-reliance and inner authority. As external validation becomes less available or relevant, you're forced to develop trust in your own psychological perceptions and experiences. The dreamer learns to find companionship within their own psyche, discovering that the inner world contains relationships and dialogues far more sustaining than many external connections. Jung would say that this apparent isolation is actually the beginning of true individuation, the process of becoming who you actually are rather than who others expect you to be. The social misunderstanding surrounding dream work often mirrors the dreamer's own internal resistance to unconscious material. Just as society dismisses dreams, part of you may continue to doubt the validity of your own inner experiences, creating internal conflict and self-questioning. This doubt becomes another dreamlike symbol, representing the ego's fear of surrendering control to larger psychological forces. Learning to navigate both external dismissal and internal doubt becomes part of the dreamer's initiation into deeper levels of psychological maturity and self-trust. The transformation that occurs through sustained dream work represents one of the most profound psychological developments available to human consciousness. As you begin to integrate dream insights into daily life, a remarkable alchemy takes place. The artificial boundaries between conscious and unconscious awareness start to dissolve, creating a more complete and authentic way of being. Jung called this process individuation, the gradual realization of your complete psychological potential, rather than remaining identified with only a fragment of who you truly are. This integration doesn't happen overnight, but unfolds as a gradual expansion of consciousness, where dream wisdom begins to inform waking decisions, and dream symbols start appearing as synchronicities in daily life. You may find that a dream about water precedes emotional healing in your relationships, or that a dream of finding hidden rooms in your house coincides with discovering new talents or interests. The boundary between inner and outer experience becomes more fluid as you recognize that psychological and external reality are far more interconnected than rational thinking typically acknowledges. The person who has learned to dialogue with their dreams develops what Jung termed a transcendent function, the ability to bridge conscious and unconscious perspectives to create new possibilities for living. This transcendent function allows you to approach life's challenges with greater creativity and wisdom, drawing upon both rational analysis and intuitive insight to navigate complex situations. Dreams begin to serve as an internal guidance system, offering perspectives and solutions that purely logical thinking cannot access. Through this alchemical process, you discover that the goal isn't to become someone different, but to become more completely yourself. Dreams reveal not only your wounds and shadows, but also your unique gifts and potentials, showing you aspects of your nature that may have been dormant or undeveloped. The integrated dreamer doesn't escape from reality, but engages with it more fully, bringing unconscious wisdom into conscious expression and living with greater authenticity and psychological wholeness. The individual who has learned to decode and integrate their dreams ultimately achieves a form of psychological sovereignty that no external authority can diminish. This sovereignty doesn't arise from rejecting outer guidance or relationships, but from developing such a strong connection to inner wisdom that external opinions and pressures no longer have the power to destabilize or define you. Jung would say that this represents the achievement of psychological maturity, the ability to be guided by your own authentic nature rather than by unconscious complexes or collective expectations. The sovereign dreamer recognizes that their dreams have always been attempting to guide them toward this independence, presenting challenges and opportunities specifically designed to develop inner strength and self-trust. Every nightmare overcome, every shadow figure integrated, every symbolic message decoded has been building toward this moment of psychological freedom. The dreamer no longer needs external validation for their insights or experiences because they've developed direct access to the source of wisdom within their own unconscious depths. This psychological sovereignty manifests as an unshakable sense of inner authority and direction. The sovereign dreamer may still seek advice and value relationships, but they're no longer dependent upon external approval for their sense of worth or direction. They've learned to distinguish between their authentic voice and the voices of conditioning, trauma, or social pressure. Dreams continue to serve as allies in maintaining this discrimination, offering ongoing guidance and course corrections as life circumstances change and evolve. The transformation is complete when the dreamer realizes they've become dangerous to systems that depend upon unconsciousness and conformity. Not dangerous in a destructive sense, but dangerous because their authenticity and inner authority inspire others to question their own unconscious assumptions and limitations. The sovereign dreamer becomes a living example of what's possible when someone learns to listen to the wisdom of their own depths, challenging others simply through their presence to consider whether they too might be receiving messages from their unconscious that they've been trained to ignore. Have you noticed patterns in your own dreams that seem too meaningful to dismiss as mere neural housekeeping? What messages might your unconscious be trying to deliver that your rational mind continues to reject? Consider sharing this exploration with others who might be ready to discover the profound wisdom hidden within their own dream worlds. Your willingness to acknowledge the importance of dream consciousness could inspire someone else to begin their own journey of psychological discovery. You're not losing your mind when you start taking dreams seriously. You're finding it. You're not escaping from reality. You're awakening to dimensions of reality that most people never explore. In a world that has forgotten how to listen to its own soul, your attention to dreams represents an act of psychological rebellion and spiritual courage. You're not alone in this journey. You're joining the ranks of those who refuse to live only half-conscious, who insist upon engaging with the full spectrum of human experience, including the profound wisdom that visits you each night whilst the world sleeps, unaware of the treasures hidden in the depths of consciousness.